G'day, legend. Coach Neil from Black Dog Coaching. One of the biggest reasons that people fail to achieve the body composition that they want, whether that be losing more body fat or gaining lean muscle mass, one of the biggest reasons that people fail to achieve this is because they fail to address the underlying issues. What we tend to do is we focus on the symptoms rather than the actual problem. And when I talk about the problem, I'm not talking about from a medical perspective, although there could potentially be some sort of medical overlap inside of there. What I'm talking about is that for people who are struggling with poor health and poor body composition, oftentimes there is an underlying issue that has not been addressed from a personal standpoint that leads to what we call our boom bust cycle. So for those who've been tracking us for a while, our boom bust cycle that we talk about with Black Dog Coaching refers to the cycle that people seem to go through over and over again of having an activating event where they realize that they don't look the way they look, they don't feel the way they want to feel, so they start to take steps to change it. And for the first couple of weeks, everything goes really well. You know, we're on track with our training, we're on track with our nutrition, we're on track with everything. And then, you know, a couple of weeks into it, nutrition gets a little bit lax, training gets a little bit less frequent, a little bit less intense. Another couple of weeks, all of a sudden, we're, you know, having more days off than we are having days training, and the diet's gone from being a diet to sort of occasionally eating healthy. And we get to a point where we're no longer training, we're no longer dieting, we're right back to where we were. Time passes, we put on any weight we've lost, we lose any gains that we made, and all of a sudden there's another activating event, and we go, holy crap, I don't look the way I look, I don't feel the way I want to feel. And the cycle starts over and over and over again. And if you've ever yo-yo dieted, if you've ever, you know, got a gym membership that ended up gathering cyber dust because you stopped going after a few weeks, then you know exactly what it is that I'm talking about. The reason this happens is because people address the symptoms rather than the problem. The way to get around this is to identify your truth. So it looks a little bit like this. So what we have here, and this is a very sort of general example. Let's assume that a person is having reoccurring headaches. They keep getting headaches, have done for a while. But what actually happens is they get these headaches and they treat it the way any normal person would treat a headache. Okay, they take painkillers, they take aspirin or Nurofen, Panadol, whatever. They take some sort of painkiller to help get rid of the headache. After a period of time, the headaches keep coming back. Not only do they keep coming back, they keep getting worse. So what do? We up the painkillers. We either up the dosage or up the type or up the strength or whatever the case may be. And we keep doing this and we keep going this endless cycle of getting headaches, treating it with painkillers. Painkillers get stronger and stronger, but the headaches just keep coming back till eventually we go to a doctor. Doctor does what doctors do. You get the referrals that you need, you get a scan, and this person ends up being diagnosed with a brain tumor. Until that brain tumor is diagnosed, until they understand what is going on there, this cycle is going to continue and nothing is going to be achieved. Only once we have the truth of the matter can we then take the necessary action and the correct action to actually rectify it and get rid of the headaches forever. All right. When we look at this from a body composition or a poor health perspective, oftentimes when we have poor body composition, you know, we're overweight or severely underweight, or we just don't look the way we look, don't feel the way we want to feel. We have generally poor health. What we do is we go through that boom bust cycle that we talked about just before. Okay. We have some sort of activating event where we realize that we don't look the way we want to look. We don't feel the way we want to feel. Okay, so we start a training routine, and then a few weeks into it, we're not training as much, not training as hard, we're not dieting as well as we should be. And then we get to another point where we're sort of, you know, training less than we are actually, you know, we're having more days off from the gym than days that we actually go to the gym. And then eventually everything just stops until we have another activating event, and then the cycle starts over and over and over. All right. Now, this is the part where you're going, well, what's the truth? All right. The truth is subjective. It is your truth. For every person, it is going to be different. There is going to be something that causes somebody to start a routine but never see it all the way through. There's going to be something that causes that person to overeat and therefore lead to poor body composition, or something that leads to that person undereating and having poor body composition. There is something going on that causes that person to make the choices that lead to poor health. Okay, smoking is a choice, drinking is a choice, recreational drugs are a choice. And yes, I know there is addiction, and that is a whole different fish. But at some point, okay, it was a choice to start it and to continue doing it until it became an addiction. Same thing with junk food. It was a choice to eat the junk food until you got to this point where you were no longer happy with your body composition. It was a choice not to go to the gym, which led to that poor body composition in the first place. What is your truth? You need to sit back, take the time to identify what it is that causes you to do the things that you do that lead you to being where you are. Because only once you identify that and recognize that, can you then move forward and break this cycle? Because once you know your truth, you'll break the cycle and can move through with the right training and the right nutrition for you, ensuring that you follow the program through and don't end up in the boom bust cycle. So what's your truth?